your instructor, Mr. Iqbal. Why I believe that I can be a good fit or a good coach for you? Because when I see a PMI triangle, I see a triangle for this course also. Myself, more than almost 18 plus years of project management experience. Most of it is in IT because by profession I'm an IT project manager. Then I have read not only PMBOK but a lot other project management books. And the third angle is I have been into training, providing training and coaching for last 10 years, but it is mostly classroom training. So now, last year I thought, let's go online, let's go beyond my close circle and try to influence the people who are outside my city, outside my country, globally, so that they can benefit from my experience and I can learn from them, because this is the very important idea, that we both are partner in it. So we both will be learning. So I have done my bachelor in computer science and MBA. In terms of certification, I am project management professional certified and also certified business analyst professional. Business intelligence, agile framework for project management, business analysis, implementation consultancy. These are my core areas. This is where I actually deliver projects into. This is my introduction. I will not take a lot of time in introducing myself. Before PMI, before somebody who thought that we need to introduce or establish a project management institute, were there no project management? Obviously, this slide tells you that there was, and also PMI accepts that there were big projects before PMI. Pyramid of Gaza, Olympic Games, Great Wall of China, Taj Mahal, Panama Canal, London Bridge, all these were before PMI established. Most importantly, the three very important tools that we use as part of a PMI tools and techniques, the Gantt chart, the critical path method, and program evaluation review technique, which is a PERT, they were there before 1969. They were there before 1984. They were even there before 1996. Henry Gantt, Kelly Walker, and Booz Allen and Hamilton, they have been working on project management before that. So this is what it was. Why is the question, that why in 1969? Why in 1960? Somebody thought of it that now it is time to combine, it is time to integrate, it is time to collect the project management and understanding or information or the best practices from around the world and group them together so that other people who are coming in the future, they will be benefited. Project Management Institute, established in 1969 by James, Eric, Gordon, Suzanne in Georgia Institute of Technology. Why? Because in those times, the new technologies were coming in, emerging technologies, new tools, new professions. Before that, there was a lack of communication tool. Projects were become more and more complex. The resources were become more and more complex. And that is the reason that in 1969, these 5 gentlemen and a lady, they thought that we need a organization which will integrate all this information. The current CEO is Mr. Mark A. Langley, and they are all present in almost 80 countries around the world, and they have chapters which are managed by the local volunteers. They don't take anything out of it. They give back to the profession. This is the whole idea behind this PMI triangle, giving back to the society, giving back to the profession. PMI credentials. These are certainly not hierarchical based. You may call a little bit of relation between CAPM and PMP, but still you don't need to do CAPM to do PMP. It completely depends on your experience. So we have the flagship product is again Project PMP, more than 800,000 certified. But still, realizing the importance and the depth of knowledge of other areas, PMI introduces other certifications so that you can be focused on those areas like business analyst, portfolio, program, schedule, and agile, in addition to risk. So these are additional certifications which are obviously based on their own standards and PMBOK standard, and these are to give you an additional in-depth knowledge of these areas. Here we are for CAPM and PMP. Over 1.2 million PMI certified worldwide, present in more than 207 countries. Almost 5 million or 500,000 members, almost 800,000 PMP certified. This is what you will become part of. This is the community that you are looking at. This is where everybody talks the same language. This is where everybody respects each other. This is where everybody gives back to the profession. 1.2 million in 207 countries in 6 continents and 5 million copies of the PMBOK guidance. Now, project managers, project management, and PMP. Who are project managers? What do you understand by project management? In terms of the PMI, you are a change agent. You actually fulfill a dream of some top management. You change the current state of an organization. You take the organization from the current state to some future state. You change the environment of an organization. The initiative that somebody thought of, somebody dreamt of, you actually make it possible. You are the reason that the project is successful or a failure. Then you have, how do you do it? You need to have broad and flexible toolkit with you. You should have leadership qualities, some soft skills. You need to have a business understanding so that you understand why somebody at the beginning actually needed that project, why this initiative has actually born at that time, why somebody wanted you to take his dream and make a reality out of it. This is only possible when you understand the business, when you understand the case, when you able to influence the stakeholders, when you are able to understand the stakeholders' voices, when you are able to understand their mind, when you are able to have a good rapport with all of them. Without all these, it will be very difficult to be a successful project manager. Project management is a universal approach, and the idea behind this guide, the PMBOK guide, is to combine all those practices and the terminologies which are generally recognized as good practice. So project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques to project activities to meet the project requirement. This is the definition by PMBOK. Obviously, PMP is the most important industry recognized certification by PMI. PMI set the basis for all project management and made the PMP as the gold standard certification for project management. So if you are actually looking for a job as a project manager, this is kind of a prereq, because it tells you that yes, your brought up happened in a completely different environment, but you understand a project management as the whole world understands it. This is what it comes. This is why this PMP is so important. It was launched in 1984, and obviously, since this PM book, it started in 1984, and now we are in version 6 of it. What is your role? Who are you? How you are going to do it? So you have 4 basic roles. You need to lead the team. You need to achieve the objectives. You need to communicate with the stakeholders within your team or out of on your project, or maybe sometime to outside your project. These are the stakeholders, people who are on the ground, unions, government organizations. They are all stakeholders to your project. Your job, most of it, almost 90%, is the communication, communication, and communication. You bring a value to the business. You create the benefits to the business. It is not about just time, budget, and cost and schedule. No, it is about the benefits. It is about when you will deliver the project, what kind of a value that would be added to within an organization, and what are the benefits that the organization will get. This is what is your role. You are just not technical project manager who is looking at scope, cost, time, quality. Now you are looking at a bigger picture. You are looking at a context of your project. Why are you taking this project? If you remember, you need to talk, you need to understand business. You need to understand business terminologies. You need to understand business cases. Thank you for now. PM book, it's a standard, it's not a methodology. It's not a tool that can be used to manage the project. It provides the best practices with solid understanding of the project management processes. What you need to do, you need to tailor them accordingly. You need to look into what kind of depth and breadth are required. In the 1980s, efforts are made to standardize the project management procedures and approaches. The PMI produced the project management body of knowledge, first project management body of knowledge in 1996, and now we are in version 6 in 2018. PM book guide. Good practice for most of the project, most of the time. What are processes and interrelated activities performed to create pre-specified product, service, or results? So the idea of all 49 processes, you know that they are interrelated and what you need to do in this and what will be the input and what will be the output. So these are pre-specified. These are not unique. Processes are not unique. You might be doing the phases are unique. The project implementation is unique, but the processes are not unique. They are pre-specified. They go on and on, again and again. Processes cannot be changed easily. You need to have an independent crop. You might need to have an independent project to do the business process reengineering. Processes are there. This is a practice. The technique, rules, and guidelines to make project management more effective. These techniques are in use. People are using it. These are in the market. These are done. They are in practice by thousands of the project managers. So this is not philosophy that you are getting. This is not something that, okay, we may use it, it might work. No, this will work. This is a guideline. It is a guideline on how to define the scope, but you are the person who is going to define the scope. We will not define the scope. The book will not define the scope for you. It's a methodology. It's a detailed set of activities which results in success over a period of time. It will improve your efficiency. It's a standard. A document stabilizes by authority. The PMI is an authority in the project management profession. Over the period of last 50-60 years, they have rigorously working, researching, identifying the best practices, and this is where they come in this is where they provide you the standard. It is tested and it is implemented many a times. We have descriptive practices rather than prescriptive practices in it. What is descriptive practice? It is about what you need to do. It is not you have to do it. Prescription is like the doctor's prescription. You have to follow it in letter and spirit. You have to follow it step by step. No, it's a descriptive practice. It defines what you need to do, how you could do it, what tools and techniques can be used. But then again, it is you who is going to use it. It is, again, as it is written, it is generally recognized as a good practice, which means the knowledge and the practice described are applicable in most of the project, most of the time, and there is a consensus about the values of these processes, about the values of these tools and techniques, and usefulness. Good practice means it is in general agreement that the application of the knowledge, skills, and tools and techniques will definitely enhance the chances of success of your project. So it's a generally recognized good practice most of the time for most of the project. This is what the PM book is. It has 49 project management processes which are divided into 5 process groups and 10 knowledge areas. So process groups are the when you are going to do it: initiation, planning, monitoring and execution, monitoring and controlling, and closing. And knowledge areas are why are you doing it, why are you creating a work breakdown structure, why are you sequencing the activities, why are you creating a risk register. This is all scope management, cost management, schedule management, time management, quality management. This is all are part of your knowledge area. Topic that we are going to cover today is about PM Book Guide 6, what's new. Yes, it may not matter a lot to you that what it was in PM Book 5 or what it was there in PM Book 4, but I think it is very important to have a comparison that what the world would look like and how the world worked in 2012, in 2007, in 2003, and how we have moved forward, and how the PM book has moved forward, how the PMI kept on researching, kept on investing time, kept on identifying the new tools, technologies, phenomena, scenarios to help us, the project managers. So first and foremost, that they have removed the first 3 chapters. It was completely revamped. They have put a more focused approach to the project manager. Project manager is no more a technical project manager. He is also a business project manager also. So again and again, I am referring the PMI triangle. It's a very important triangle. Now the PMI project management is based on it, that you are not only part of PMI technical project management, but you are also supposed to take the business and leadership role. You need to understand the business, you need to understand the terminology, you need to understand the business case. Moving forward, as I have already explained to you, that role of the project manager is redefined. Role of the project manager has refocused. Previously it was there, but not as a complete whole chapter. Then realizing the new environment, which is Agile and Scrum. Agile certification was there, but it was not mentioned as specifically and explicitly mentioned in PM Book 5. But now every topic area, every knowledge area has a specific consideration when it comes to Agile. And more importantly, tailoring was always suggested. It was always suggested that it is not a step-by-step guide. It's a methodology. It tells you that how you need to do it, what could be the right way of doing it. It's a descriptive form of information rather than a prescription that you have to you have to go through these steps. So now tailoring has been focused that now you need to tailor every project area, every knowledge area as it is required by the project. Lesson learned were there, but it is a renewed focus with the project knowledge base, manage project knowledge as part of a complete process where you will be updating the project knowledge, where you will be updating the business cases, where you will be updating the all repositories, where you will be managing the tacit and explicit knowledges. So it's a renewed focus. It's a, I would say, an additional focus, an additional identification that why lesson learned, why project knowledge is important. We are not here to reinvent the wheel. We need to learn from our predecessor. We need to learn from the successes of theirs. We need to learn from their failures so that we don't make the same mistakes again and again. Then obviously, success measures has changed from traditional cost, quality, and time to business objectives, business value. Yes, your project may be completely 100% successful when it comes to these iron triangle, where cost, quality, and scope, but it is not giving any value to the business. So this is a very important focus for the renewed project manager, for the renewed project management methodology, that you need to remain aligned with the project business case and project benefit management. So you need to deliver the value to the project. You need to deliver the value to the organization. You need to make sure that your project fulfills the changing demands or changing objectives or the versatility of an organization. It's not that you have taken something for 4 months back and you are now you have closed your mind and you are not aligned, you are not willing to change. Change and adaptability is new phenomena. Change is there. You cannot avoid the change. So this is now part of the project management PMBOK 6. In the next slide, we'll go a little further into it. Let's see. The PMBOK guide has 3 new processes. And now every knowledge area has 4 subjects: key concept, why this knowledge area, what are the concepts behind the building blocks behind all the processes, tailoring considerations, emerging trends, which are, as I told you, market is changing, technology is changing with the speed that you buy a laptop or computer or a new technology. By the time you come out of the shop, your technology is already old. This is the changing speed. This is where the world is moving towards hyperloop. World is moving towards space traveling, space vacations. This is all projects. So this is what is there. Then again, the PMBOK guide is concise, organized, and excellent reference manual. I use it all the time. I know, yes, I have some shortcuts. I know where to look forward. I have gone through this book many times, and this is what I suggest as the key success factor when it comes to the project management examination. You need to read this book. Yes, it's boring. I understand. I mean, it's not a novel. It's not supposed to be thriller. It is not supposed to be romance. It is not supposed to be drama. It is a guide. It is written by the project managers. So this is how it is. You need to love this book. You will fall in love. Read this book once and twice. It's an excellent reference book throughout your project management career. So it has proven traditional practices. Those are widely applied in the project management today, and obviously innovative practices, new trends and emerging technologies, both published and unpublished material. This is very important. When we are talking of the body of knowledge, this body of knowledge is constantly evolving. This profession is constantly evolving. It is about published and unpublished material. So processes are divided into 3, used once or at a predefined point, like a project charter, close of the project. Then processes which are performed periodically that are needed, like acquiring resources is performed, resources are needed. The process conduct procurement is performed prior to the needing of every procurement item. Development approach. Many of the monitoring and controlling processes are ongoing from the start of the project till the end of the project. So these are three things: processes once, which are project charter and close; processes that are performed periodically, acquiring resources, conduct procurement; processes that are performed continuously throughout the process, which are defining activities. Progressive elaboration is part of our news. Progressive elaboration is what we would be looking when we are planning. So we plan today, we define the activities, we hand over the planning and activities to the execution team. We move forward. So defining activities there. Throughout the project life cycle, you will be keep on doing it. So these are the processes that are performed continuously throughout the project. In the next slide, or in the next chapter, or in the next session, we will be looking at that what are no more as part of the PM book. It is certainly not that this is not there. Now they have, as I said, they have revisited it. It's a complete new book. So they have moved from the, as I told you, these constraints are there. So if you could not say that you as a project manager need to forget your technical project management exercise. No, absolutely not. You are talking of scope, schedule, cost and quality and resources, but it is not emphasized that this is only your job. You have a renewed focus. You have a renewed job role. You need to look into that. Then emphasis on 7 quality control is no more. There were 7 quality control tools. Still, we will go through them, but there were too much emphasis on it. It is not no more there. But is not mentioned, but the triangular and a beta distribution are mentioned. We will go into, obviously, we'll go into the detail. The idea for this whole introductory module, or the whole introductory session, or the whole this 1 hour, 2 hour session is to give you that, so that you can have a reference from where we were coming, where we are going. And if somebody asks you, no, we were there, we did this, so you should have answers to these things. Then role of project sponsors and other stakeholders are not focused. Detailed list of ITTOs are merged into like project management plan. It is merged as project documents. There is a complete list of project management plan items. There is a complete list of project documents items. What are project documents and what are project management plan? But previously it was this. Now it is, they have combined it. They have removed the clutter. So it is a project management document. It is project plan documents, project document and project management plan. So it is rather easier to understand, to take, to make sure that what would be the part of the process. Before going further, please, if you have any question, because now we will jump into the knowledge areas and the process. We will jump into the details, not to the level that we will be going into the sessions when we will be doing scope, cost and quality. But yes, I want to give you an overview, so that when you are, the reason for this all overview today is so that, because we will be reading sequence, and the world is not sequential, world is parallel, it's 4D, 5D, 10D. So this is what we will be looking at. So if you have any questions, please post it, ask me, I will try to answer. If you have any question regarding project management certification, please ask from me, I will help you. Thank you very much. Welcome again. Now today it is about process groups and knowledge areas. The next slide is about process groups and knowledge areas. The next slide is about their interaction. The next slide is about their interaction. Next slide about the project phases and the project management phases. So let's start understanding what are process groups. So we have 4 process groups, which are actually saying in which state of project management you are in, whether you are initiating a process, whether you are planning the project, whether you are executing a project, monitoring and controlling, and closing. It is very important to understand that these are not the phases of the project. So one project management, one project phase, which is a design phase, can have all these process group, which is when are we doing any activity. So these process groups will tell you, so we are doing a process, or we are working on identifying the work breakdown structure, or we are identifying the sequence activities, or we are into or we are working on the budgeting. It means we are working in a planning process group. Next is knowledge areas. Integration, which is a project integration management. It integrates a complete project. It integrates the project management processes with each other. So whenever there is a change, whenever there is a situation, whenever there is impact, it makes sure that the whole project remains integrated. The whole project remains as one whole project. It is not as divided into small independent projects which are not communicating with each other, or which are not dependent on each other. Then we have 5 support areas. These are means to achieve the project objectives. And then we have 4 core knowledge areas lead to project objectives. What are 4 core areas? Cost, scope, quality, and schedule. These are project objectives. They are to finish the project. They are to fulfill the objective of the project. You are accountable in front of client for these things. Then there is a support, which is resource, risk, stakeholder, communication, and procurement. They are the means to achieve the project objectives. You need to get the resources so that you can deliver the project. You need to procure some of the services so that you can procure the project, you can deliver the project objectives. You have to maintain the stakeholder, you have to manage their expectations, so you can focus on delivering the project objectives rather than dealing with scope creep or gold plating. Then one knowledge area, as I told you, project integration management. Initiation, where the idea is tested, where you actually identify, where you actually take a decision whether we should go ahead or not. This is where you commit the resources. This is where you commit the organization that, okay, we need to take up that objective. We need to take that initiative. And that is the only way to deliver the project. This to change the organization status. Then you have a planning where you identify what needs to be done and who will do it, when will we do it, what will be the cost of it, how we are going to achieve those objectives, what will be our course of action. Then we moved into the execution. We organize the team, we procure the resources, and we deliver as what we have agreed as part of the planning. Processes are compiled to work defined in complete the work defined in project management plan. So the very important output from initiation is project charter. Very important output from the planning is project management plan. And what is the very important output from execution is the deliverable. So processes here is to complete the work defined in project management plan. Then monitoring and controlling. Obviously, whatever you have planned, you have to make sure that you are following the plan, and if there is a deviation, what kind of corrective preventive actions you need to do, how you will make sure that your team remains within an acceptable variance limits. All these are part of the monitoring and controlling. Then closing is finalizing all activities, closing the procurement, handing over the deliverable to the client, closing the project. The handing over the deliverable to the client happens as validate scope. Here you are actually making sure those deliverables which are accepted, you write their lesson learned, you write there what went wrong, you write what was our success factor, so that the people who are coming next, they learn from you. Moving into the project. So project scope management is all the work that is required to be delivered, and only the work that is required to be delivered. Here we will be looking at how do we need to look in assumptions and constraints. Then schedule is about time management, schedule is about calendar, schedule is about milestone. Then we have cost, planning, estimating, budgeting, financing, funding, managing and controlling costs so the project can be completed with an approved budget. Quality is about expectation, quality is about ISO standards, quality is about CMMI level standard, quality is about agreement, how good you are delivering the objectives, how good you are delivering the requirement. The basic quality requirement is the delivering the requirement. Resource management, identification, acquire and manage the resources, whether it is human resources or procurement resources. Then you have a communication management, timely and effective and appropriate communication. Who will do the communication? When will you do the communication? What needs to be communicated as part of the communication is all what you do in a project communication. Risk is inevitable. Everything in our life is risk. We mitigate our risk. When we take the car on the roads, it's a risk. But the airbags, signals, cameras, seat belts, traffic police line, they all are mitigation factor. They all are minimizing the risk. So they all make the risk they all make the risk okay for you so that you can move forward. Same is the case with the project. You cannot just don't do anything on within your organization. You need to take the initiative. Whenever you take the initiative, there is a risk. You have to take a calculated risk. You need to know what kind of mitigation you might require, what kind of a risk that you are expecting in the future. Then you have a project stakeholder management, people or groups that could be impacted or impact the project. Analyze stakeholder expectation and their impact on the project. This is the 10 knowledge areas, and previously they were the 5 process groups. Again, if you have any questions, please ask. If you want me to explain anything further, please let me know. Thank you very much. Welcome. Now, in the previous 2 sections, we have 3 sections rather. We understood what are process goals, what are knowledge areas. I gave you a little bit of definition, little bit of clarification, what are process goals, and how the project knowledge areas work. Now here, what we are talking about is how they are interacted with each other. How you going to making sure that it remains integration, because these are not independent processes. All processes are linked with each other, and so you can see if your initiation is starting from the beginning and your planning is also started. Obviously, you cannot just initiate a project. You need to have a fair idea where you are going to go, what will be your path, where is your ending point. Otherwise, you cannot commit something to it. If you don't know that from which point A to which point B you need to go, you cannot commit. So this is very important. See, even in the initiation phase, planning has started, and monitoring and controlling is also started. Yes, everything is getting into their peak in different spaces, and really in different spaces, because initiation process group does not need the kind of a planning that you need to have before starting an execution. Please, this is project management process groups relationship. It has nothing to do with the project phases. Project phases are completely different thing. Let's say for an IT, you might have a design document, you might have a prototype, you might have a specification, you might have a development. For construction, you might have a design phase, you might have before that, you might tendering phase, designing phase, and construction phase. Every project, every industry has different project phases, but same project management phases. This is very important to understand. I have faced questions, people have made a lot of mistakes whenever they deal with the project management phases and project phases. So this is the whole book is about project management phases. It has nothing to do with the project phases. Project phases are completely dependent on completely dependent on the industry where you are in. So you see, initiation has a little bit of planning, and even execution is there from the day one. What is an execution? You committed to write something. Writing a project charter is execution. You might mobilize something. You might need to do some initial calls for the procurement to get the ideas. So this is an execution of that specific thing. Then obviously you go when you see the planning is taking a leap and it is getting into the height when you are actually closing the initiation phase, because when this is where it is actually telling you that yes, you are going to get the project, please speed up your planning so that by the time you have the final signature, you have a complete and fair idea where you are going to end planning. And you see, within after initial 10-20% of the planning, your execution starts with the full boom, and execution is completely and then it takes up, and obviously you have to stop planning to make sure that you deliver. So it peaks at completely different. Monitoring and controlling is there from day one. You have to make sure your charter is properly monitored and controlled. You have to make sure that your purchase order which you write to get this project is completely properly monitored and controlled. Then you have a closing and process group where you are closing the process and finishing the project. So this is the timeline of the process groups. Again, knowledge areas is why you are doing a specific task, why you are doing a specific process. Planning, the process groups is the time that you are in as part of the project or as part of that specific phase of the project. Thank you. These are the process groups relationship. Welcome. In previous slide, we saw in terms of time that how the different process groups are initiating, getting a peak, and then finishing. Here we are telling you that you can see that's the same picture in a different context. Monitoring and controlling has everything into it: initiation, execution, planning, and closing. Execution and planning is a cyclic process. You plan something, you execute something, then you find something. It's a plan, do, check, and act cycle. So you plan something, you deliver something. You plan something, you deliver something, you find mistake, you go back, you plan something, then you do this execution, you deliver something. This is how this planning and execution is progressive elaboration is happening, or rolling wave planning is happening. Plan, execute, check, come back to planning if there is a problem into it. So this is a different context of what we have just seen in the previous slide. Thank you. Let us see. Welcome. Now let's talk about the examination. Let's talk about the application. Let's talk about that yes, you are eligible for the examination, how Mudassir, Iqbal, and how this will help you, what kind of additional resources in terms of money, what you have additionally paid here. You need to have how you are going to the application is PMP eligibility criteria. So prerequisite is either secondary school or a 4-year degree, 7,500 hours or 4,500 hours, 35 hours of project management course. This is what you are doing right. There is a 200 questions in the examination. I will explain you a little bit further on it. Then you have to maintain this PMP certification for every 3 years, 60 people. If you are a member, which is a $139 cost, your exam is for $405. If you are not a member, the exam is $505. I always encourage you people to please take a membership. It's a very valuable membership. You get a lot of discounts. You get a lot of access to the papers and the library sections on this area. And the second you register, you actually get back your money, which is for $405. So please look into it. PMI is not looking for your degree. PMI is looking for your experience. The PMP is about your project management experience. So if you even have a secondary degree, 7,500 hours, you need to show that you are part of a leading role within a project. Very simple. You don't need to worry about that I don't have a secondary degree. How you are going to get the 4,500 hours or 7,500 hours? This is where I will help you in this cycle. Application and audit process. So you will submit the application. Application will be reviewed for the completeness. Application, you need to pay the application. There will be an audit if you are selected for an audit. Then there will be an examination. Then there will be certification cycle. Then you need to maintain the credentials. If you renew the credentials, whether you take for the examination or you maintain the CCR cycle. Why the audit process? This is very important, and it's a sampling. So it is not that you put something and you have been selected for audit. No, it's a sampling process. It is to make sure that you have an experience in a project. It is to make sure that you are not just a paper-based examination. It is to enhance the quality of the people who are taking the examination. It's a very respected, and people, when you are saying I am PMP certified, people respect, the organization respects. They know that you have spent hours, you have enough experience to gain that certificate. So this is very important, that you are ready for an audit process. But again, this is not something that everybody will get into, and you will be only selected as part of a sampling. If you are being unfortunately selected for an audit, the process is rather simpler. So you don't need to worry about it. If somebody is selected, we can go into the details at that time. At this point, very important thing is it's a 500 characters or 250 characters to show the capability of your project management or what you have done as part of your project. So you have to be very concise, clear, and to the point. Communication is required when you are writing the description of your project. So this is the application and the audit process. If you have any question, please post it and I will try to explain it further. If you have an application, please you may share it with me. I will try to help you in that also. Welcome again. PMP Certification Exam. Easy. Easy peasy. No? I'm sure it is. If it is not for you, I'm there for you. So it's a 200 multiple choice question to be answered in 4 hours. 175 answers counted for examination purpose. 25 questions are pre-test and they are not scored. So you are actually saying that nobody knows the passing criteria. So it is about ability, experience, and knowledge. So what you need to make sure? You need to make sure that you deliver, you do as many questions as possible. There are no negative markings. So make sure that you finish all 200 questions. I will explain to you how they actually mark you pass or fail as part of the PMP Handbook. But here just understand that you have to answer almost all 200 because you may have answered 150 and you are fortunately or unfortunately answered 225 questions which are pre-test 100% right. So you have actually only answered 125 from 175. So you have to make sure that you don't leave any question. Very important, project management process examination is based on project management process groups, which is initiating, planning, execution, monitoring, and controlling. There is a complete 5 and 10 videos on it. What are the initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, controlling, and closing? What does that process means? What are the tasks means? And number of percentage of questions. So they say when you are in initiation, there are 2 processes, which is now we have only which is initiate charter, define project charter, and close project. So from these 2 we will be answering when you are talking of initiation, you are actually talking of initiate, define project charter and identify stakeholders. From these two, you are supposed to do 8 tasks and the number of questions might be 26 from 200. From closing, you are only having a closed project. You have 7 tasks that you need to do when you are closing a project, and there are 14 questions from this. So no process group is unimportant. You have to pass all, you have to make sure that you understand all, you have to make sure that you don't miss anything. And this is why I am here, to help you get there. Now you are PMP certified on the exam day. Now you have to maintain that CCR cycle. This is a continuing certification requirement. The PMI triangle. We have been talking about the PMI triangle from day one. The technical, the leadership, and the strategic. So this is what we will be talking. This is where you will be tested. So you have to provide 60 PDUs in 3 years, which means you are continuously linked with the profession in addition to your job. So your job will get you 8 credit hours or 8 PDUs, but they will not get you there to the 60 PDUs. You have to produce extra effort to get to these 60 PDUs. You have to show the commitment to the profession. That is very important, a commitment to the profession. So this is your CCR cycle. This is, you have to maintain, this is important to maintain your PMP certification. I'm sure you don't want to go for the examination after 3 years. I have done my PMP in 2007 and I am renewing every 3 years. It is easy, it is manageable, and 60 PDUs is absolutely logical. It is not something that you have to go take an extra effort or you will lose something. So you need to go extra beyond your comfortable zone to get these 60 hours. Thank you. Again, any questions, please post it. PMP Handbook. These are two very important documents, PMP Handbook and PMP Exam Content Online. As a trainer, I always ask every student, every PMP aspirant to please read this book, these two PDFs. These are very important. PMI has put a lot of information into it. Let's see the PMP Handbook. It is the overview of the certification, how to complete the application, what will be the audit process, what you need to make sure to avoid the audit process, what you need to make sure how to fulfill the audit process, the fees, the cancellation process, what is the cancellation fees, if you, God forbid, needs to reappear in the examination, what you need to do, all is part of this document. Testing center, what you need to do on the testing this day, be there, make sure you have your governmental identification document, make sure that on the exam day you will not get the calculator. All these are very important. And the result, how the result is being calculated, when you have done what is target, what is above target, what is below target, how you will pass all the 5 areas. Everything is mentioned in this PMP Handbook. So please, it's not too many pages, but read it through. It will help you understand the whole picture of from the exam perspective. Examination, application, audit, everything is part of it. Welcome. Exam content online. Please, please, and please read it. It defines the process groups. It defines the tasks in it. It defines the tools and techniques in every process group. It's a document which defines the exam from the actual process group point of view. It actually tells you that what is there in the examination, what are the tasks with 2 processes you are supposed to do. I have gone through this exam content online in detail. Also, not only the exam content online, but also the second part of a PM book. I'm not sure if you all are aware that PMBOK has two parts. First is knowledge areas, and second part is the process groups. So I have a complete, I think 8 videos which are covering the whole 49 processes, these tasks, the deliverables, inputs from the process groups point of view. But please read it. It's a good reference for your examination. Benefits of PMP, benefits of Project Management Professional Certification. I am sure I don't need to go and convince you about the benefits. The reason you are here and you have spent this 1 hour is because that you would like to know the benefits of Project Management Professional. You want to know that you are convinced that if I do the certification, the future is bright. If I do this certification, getting on the next job, the chances are better. If I do this certification, I can be recognized as a proper project manager. So it is a certification, identified tools and techniques which are time tested, process and procedures which are being used and tested by thousands of PM project managers around the world, and you are globally recognized. These are the benefits that you will get once you are PMP certified. There are many, and if you search on the net, you will get far too many in terms more than this what I have already covered here. But this is just a gist. This is just to tell you that the journey that you have started about an hour back, if you keep on continuing it, believe me, it will pay off. Thank you very much for your time. Before ending this session, I want to give you a little bit of philosophy. See, I do not believe in reinventing a wheel. I also do not believe that what am I doing in the world, somebody has not done it, or at least some part of it somebody has done it. So I believe in mentors. I strongly believe that I need a coach and a guide who will help us. So Alex Mendozian is one of those. He had this be, do, have model, which is to have anything, which is a certification that you are looking for, you need to do certain things, which means study, hard work, 3 months of no socialization, some Saturdays, some weekends. And before you do these certain things, you must adopt the mindset, a self-image to be a certain person. You are a certified. How you will behave when you will be in, because until and unless you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, until and unless you are convinced that yes, when I will be out of this tunnel, there is a good world waiting for me. If you believe that at the end of this night, when the sun will come out, there will be a brightness, then this is the only way to move in your life. So this is what this cycle is. You have to behave, even you don't have it right now, you have to behave as you have it, because then you will this means you are convinced and you have that attitude of getting this certification, and this is where it all comes in, and then you will make sure that you go and get it. Don't forget that I am there for you. Let's see you in your real life journey towards the PMP certification. Thank you for your time. We'll see you. Strategy to crack the exam. Well, this is the best part and I loved it most. See, you have to study hard. It's not an examination that every Tom, Dick and Harry can pass. You have to make sure that you are a good project manager, which means you have you have the knowledge and you have the experience and you have the ability. So this is all three. When all three come together, you are going to go for the examination. So to crack the examination, this is my idea. This is what I learned in 10 years. that if you follow this, and believe me, those who have done it, they have passed it. So 2 hours for 3 months, this is what you need to do. 10 hours on an average for a week is minimum required to go through the examination, to make sure that you have the complete information. 4 full examinations in the last 15 days is required for you to make sure that you are in the frame of the mind that is required for the examination. Take the notes for final review. Create the notes. Create your own notes, personal understanding. Don't only read the book. Don't only read the reference guide. Don't only listen to me. Go through it. Learn. Take your notes. It is very important. It will help you identifying that what is the last minute review. PM book, read it at least 2 times and use any other reference guide. First time when you are talking with your coach or a trainer, or you have taken any course, this is the time that you have got everything in one bowl, in one shot. Then go and read the PM book. PM book, every time you will read it, you will learn something new, because once in the class or in the session you have a complete picture, then the PM book is too much in detail. Every process will specifically, I can give you 2 examples, enterprise environmental factors and the organization process assets. I am sure no reference guides and no trainer is going into EF and OPS every time, but the PM book specifically identifies what are those EF which are related to every process, what are the OPS that are required, what they are not letting any stone unturned in terms of making sure that you get the right information. So read this book. This book has been written by many project managers. This is the book of from the project managers to the project managers. So it is not a philosophy, it is not some theory, it is practical. You can go and see the pages where the names of the people who have took part in writing this book. So don't miss reading this book. Course content, handbook, those things do not forget. Read it once, make sure you read it at the end of the time when you are doing the application in this. Look for the vulnerabilities and your strengths. Work on your vulnerabilities to identify what your weakest areas. Try to crack the exam with the specific way, not the hard way, but the smart way. Exam center, know your exam center. You should know that you will not get the calculator. You should be able to use either the simple calculator or maybe the computerized calculator. You should know where your exam center is. You should know when the examination is. Like in my city where I am, the exam is at 9 o'clock in the morning. 4 hours is, believe me, is way too much for a human mind to keep focused. So it is a problem. And this is the challenge that you have to take. You have to make sure that your mind remains at the top speed for 4 hours. And this could only happen, like I'm not an early riser, but to be at my best is at 9 is something I have never done in my life. I am usually 11 o'clock person, but I am very good at nights. So, but I have to be there at 9 and not only be there at 9, I have to be at my best at 9. So then you have to train your mind, and believe me, training of mind is quick. You need to shock it. One fine day, shock it. Wake up at the 6 o'clock in the morning and then train it for next 2, 4, 5 days that you have to wake up 7 o'clock, get ready, be there, take your, because you cannot miss the exam. There is a timeline limit in which you have to join the exam or else your exam will lapse. So understand your exam center, take the extra coat because sometimes it is very cold. You might have some other people in the room. So you might need to take the something for the ears to make sure that you don't get the noise. But again, this is completely policy of the PMI and the policy of the testing center that will identify whether you can take that inside or not. Be comfortable, get there, understand it. So this is my advice, my personal advice. PMI has nothing to do with it. No other professor has to do with it anything. No other trainer has to do with this anything. This is my experience. I am telling it to you. So this is where I conclude the discussion on strategy to crack the exam. Thank you very much. Welcome. Welcome my friends to this 1 hour session. This session is going to explain multiple things to you. First and foremost, the basic agenda is to help you understand how you can get the PMP certification. How you will make sure that you first are eligible for it, and then secondly, you have the plan in front of you to achieve it. And the second part is, what is PMI? Why PMP? And what PMI is expecting from you? What are the two basic pillars of this whole PMP certification, or this whole project management book of knowledge, or this whole project management uh, profession? How PMI sees, and who is PMI? Why this certification is well established? Why when you say that I am a PMP certified, the other person says, oh good, it must mean that you know about your profession. It must mean that you are a good project manager. Although certification never gives any certification in terms of being good or bad, the certification only tells or explains or establish the fact that you have a fair idea about the profession or whatever the certification is about. It never says that you are good or bad, but this is the expectation that we have, that when I meet any PMP certified project manager, he must have the knowledge about how to do a good project management, how to make sure that the project succeeds. So this is all what we will be discussing in this 1 hour session. And then definitely you can ask me other questions and I'll try to answer. You can post as many questions as you like. You have any confusion, you want any coaching, or you want me to mentor you, I am available. So just use the course comments and let me know so that I can answer your queries. Thank you very much for your time. Let's begin your journey and see if you are eligible. And if you are eligible, what you need to do to make sure that you get to this final goal post in the minimum time possible. Thank you very much for your time. Another very important document that you should be reading before starting your journey towards your certification is PMP Project Management Professional Exam Content Outline. This outlines what is going to be in the exam. This document is very well written. It identifies the number of tasks that you are supposed to do in each process group. I have copied some of the tasks here, but this is not the exhaustive list. You need to go into this document. You need to read this document. This document will tell you the tasks, the tools and techniques that are supposed to be part of the process group. So obviously the book has the book is written in two parts. First is knowledge area and second is process group. In the knowledge area, there is a lot of definitions, details, everything is there. So when you go into the process group, they just combine it in terms of a process group. They just try to make a sense that how in a process group the processes deals with each other. And in this document, they identified the task that you are supposed to do. So there are 8 tasks you are supposed to do in initiation, and there are almost 7 tasks you are supposed to do in closing. So these are very important. These are the 2 very important documents that you could get from the PMI website. The exam content online and the previous one, which is a PMP handbook. The handbook deals your examination, deals with your application, deals with your money, deals with your how the examination will be marked, and this is what is going to be in the examination. So thank you for your time. We will see you in the next section. Before ending this, I want to give you some quick reminders. PMI is not looking for your degree. They are looking for your project management experience. They want to make sure that you are doing the right project management. And that is why even if you are a secondary school graduate, you can show them 7,500 hours. In addition, please, when you are going for the filling the form, not only your professional job will be counted, your community projects will be counted, your non-profit organization projects will also qualify for the certification. Multiple job roles qualifies for certification application. So you don't need to be project manager, leader can be there, contributor is there, system analyst is there. There are 6 job roles there. Go see which fits you. Third, that is a very important point. Fourth, this is a very important point, and I try to convince many people that you cannot cram for the examination. Believe me, there are many good books, there are many good trainers, there are many good websites, there are many good simulators, but you have to do this cost benefit analysis. You need to understand that what is the point that you will be starting law of diminishing returns. Yes, I'm talking about some project management terminologies. Yes, I will be explaining this in all other courses. So you cannot cram it. There is a wall that needs to be painted. One person can paint it in a one day. 2% cannot paint it in a half day, because there is an integration, there is a communication there. You have to make sure that they communicate and they complete. Then you have 3 people, then you have 4 people. You will never able to do it. So that is what the same will happen. And believe me, I have seen many, I have mentored many, I have talked with many. They did PMBOK, they did one course, they go through the one study guide, another study guide. No, PMBOK is the best book for me written on the project management that you have to read. This is the way to get to the certification. This is the way to learn the project management. Then you need a study guide and you need a trainer. That is what 3 things I tell you. Keep it 3: your trainer, your PMP book, and a study guide. Your trainer is your coach. You don't want to learn everything on your own. You don't want to reinvent. You don't want to go into you should not be acting like that nobody has ever walked on these roads before. No, talk to your trainer, talk to your coach, ask him the questions, try to understand try to understand and clear your confusions. Keep the tap with your coach, keep a connection open with your coach. He is very important in your certification life cycle. He will help you get there. PMBOK, your coach, and one study guide. Study guide, I recommend, the reason being that the examination is a complete frame of mind. This is difficult. We will go and see the examination, one slide on examination, but this is a completely different thing. So this is my advice. Don't go for multiple study guides. Don't go for multiple simulators. Don't go for here and there. Look, stick with one and focus. It will help you. Passing criteria, you need to show above target or on target for all 5. You cannot fail any. PDUs, professional development unit, is required for PMP. So if I'm a PMP certified, I need 60 PDUs in 3 years. What you need for PMP certification is contact hours for eligibility. You need to make sure that you have 35 contact hours to be eligible for the examination. This is quick reminders for you so that you can go ahead and start your journey. Thank you very much for your time. If you are here, it means you have gained something out of this lecture series, and it means now you are ready to start your real journey towards the certification. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to me. Post your questions. I will answer. Don't forget my advices: how to crack the exam, strategy for studying. Make sure that you understand that. And obviously the other thing that we have gone through, these are minors, and obviously we will go wherever you will take the course, those trainers will go into the details of those. But this is just to give you an overview of what the exam, what a PMI, what PMI is, what PMP looks like, what is the expectation of PMI, what are the important documents that you need to know, and how you can crack the exam. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for listening to me. Make sure you do not stop here and keep moving. Whether an inch or a foot, you have to keep moving. Thank you very much for your time.